Hello and welcome back to the Overdue Sports Show, episode 19 of the Overdue Sports Show. I'm your host, Jake Sawinski, accompanied as always by Will Massa. A little late this week, but that's all right. How we doing, Will?
Fantastic. We got a lot of big topics to talk about this week. Nothing hyper specific to what's happening in the sports world as far as performances and stuff, but we've got some fun topics today. I actually really like this rundown.
Yeah, I do too. And we're making a pivot instead of just kind of, going through each sport and kind of talking about what's happening that way. We're just kind of trying to find some talking points. And hopefully this format will work a little bit better and make it more enjoyable for you guys. But I'd say the cycle of this last week was we recorded Friday night last week. So I would say anything from Saturday morning until yesterday evening, this morning, because Will's got something he's got to sound off on toward the end of the show. But we were talking about it a little bit before we started. But Derek Carr announced his retirement from the NFL after, I don't know, like 10, 11 seasons.
10.
10? Yeah, he's all done.
I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, ballpark. It's not like he played 4 years and I said 10. So Derek Carr hanging it up after another injury-riddled season. What's your takeaway on this, or what do you have to say about this?
It's not surprising, quite honestly. Like the last couple of years have been unfortunate in terms of performance and some injury stuff. I mean, he just aged out, and you'll touch on it more based on that one season he had that was really good. Overall, he's a fine quarterback. He's fine. 77 and 92 lifetime. 41,000 yards, 257 touchdowns, 112 picks. It's a very serviceable quarterback for 11 years. Like, if you tell me that that's going to – not a franchise quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but solid guy.
Yeah. For me, it's a lot of what could have been with Derek Carr, right? Because that 2016 season – he was incredible. Like you said, third in MVP voting. I think we were talking about it a little bit before, but third in MVP voting that one season. And I think it was in the playoff game against the Texans that year. He broke his leg and he was never the same. Just never was able to replicate that season. And he was pretty young at the time. I think that was like his maybe second or third season in the league.
Third.
Around that time frame, he was like, okay, this guy can be really, really good in this league if he's able to keep up the production that he had. And he just never got back to it, whether it was, him being on a team that was struggling or he's struggling. And the obvious one, he's always banged up. He's always hurt, right? So for me, it's just a lot of like, damn, what a real shame that, he couldn't ever get it all together again. On top of the fact that he was kind of like always had that I'm like my brother kind of thing on, in the back of his mind, right? Like everyone's always like, oh, David Carr, that guy sucked, right? And like that's his older brother. And he kind of always had to play through that too, the comparisons to that. And like, he struggled as well in his NFL career. And it was kind of the, for me, it was just like a lot of what could have been with him, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, pretty much a lifetime Raider, though. So I know he's very popular within the Raiders fan base. Almost threw for 5,000 yards one year. Like, he definitely had his moments. Definitely had his seasons where he was really, really solid. But again, just I think that the definition of a solid quarterback, right? And some of those teams he played on were horrible. So that the record of 77 and 92 isn't necessarily indicative of what was around him. Like some of those teams he played on were horrendous. But a solid quarterback, like always around, usually available, like obviously some injury stuff, but played 15 plus games almost every year.
Until last year. Yeah, and hyper competitive too, right? Like he'd always be out there playing hurt. Most guys would sit out, and most guys should sit out with some of the stuff he was dealing with when he was playing. And it's like he hurt every part of his body. Like, how do you throw a football without a hip? How do you throw a football without a shoulder? You know what I mean? And like he'd be out there trying. So I think, how like some guys get the reputation of like tough. I don't think he has that reputation, but I think he's got the reputation of like being a good teammate, being like ultra competitive, like trying his best to be ready to play every week, even if he wasn't like that good. And it's like, oh, he's obviously hurt. He's not playing well, but like he always gave that effort to do that. And I think a lot of people respect that. And like, the back and forth with, roster, like especially with the Raiders, right? Because like they were good in 2015, 2016, that time frame. Like they were one of those teams in the AFC where it's like they weren't like ultra dominant minus that one season, but they were always in the discussion. And I feel like he was not quite remembered for that. He was kind of remembered for like the bad years, to me anyways. That's what people think of. But in the back of people's minds, I think they're also like, yeah, he always kind of carried himself the right way. You know what I mean? Like you have some guys that are like, oh, this team, like they, in a roundabout way, they're like, this team sucks. Get me some help. Right. He never had that. He was always like the good teammate, always seemed to say the right thing, always a team first guy. And I think a lot of people appreciated that about him anyways. That's how I look at it. But I do want to say, you said he's probably not a franchise quarterback. I disagree with that. I think there are 15 leagues let me restart. Not the way Derek Carr has been playing because of how hurt he was, but if you were to take like competent, like moderately healthy Derek Carr, I think half the teams in the league would take him in a heartbeat to play quarterback for them. Look at the quarterback play in 2024. And I remember something on Twitter, like this is months ago. I don't remember how I still remember this, but Mina Kimes from ESPN put something on Twitter about how like excellent quarterback play is in the NFL. I couldn't disagree more. I think quarterback play in the NFL has never been worse, like from league wide. Think of in your head some of the teams in the league that just dumpster quarterback play. You can think of like half of them. I think half of the teams would pay him in a heartbeat if they got any semblance of Derek Carr for 16, 17 games.
Yeah,
I think the way quarterback play is trending as a whole, I think a lot of teams would actually be like, we would love to have Derek Carr. Like, look at the Browns. You're paying all this money to Deshaun Watson to not even play. Look at the Giants. Look at the Panthers, for like 12 of those games until Bryce Young kind of figured it out. Look at the Cowboys. Like they were like nothing without Dak. And Dak wasn't even good the 2, 3, 4 games he played. There are a slew of teams that would take him in a heartbeat, I think. I could be wrong. You could disagree with that. I wouldn't fault you if you did, but I think there are a lot of teams that would, yes, I would take Derek Carr over who we got. Look at the Raiders. He should have went home. He could play hurt for the Raiders and be better than Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew or Desmond Ridder. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm serious. I think there are a ton of teams that would take him.
Yeah, I can get with that. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. He's always a guy that like I would have liked to see what he did with good pieces around him because there wasn't many.
Yeah, you really only had the one from that year where they were in the playoffs, and I think they were like the 2 seed that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were 12-3 that year.
Yeah, they were really good, and it was like at a time where he was just starting to break out, and everyone was like, "Oh, this guy could be really good," and he was just never the same after that leg injury. And it just seemed like a slew of other things just kept him not being 100%. Like I don't think he's played a season since that season where he was 100% the entire season. It gets kind of rare. Football's obviously a very physical sport, and a lot of guys play hurt. But I don't think he had an opportunity just with his body or the teammates around him or situation, whatever the case is. Like I don't think he's had a real opportunity to replicate that. So that's what I think when it's like, damn, what could have been.
That's fair. I can get behind that. I don't feel super strongly about him. Like he's one of those guys he always has had his moments. Like has always had his moment. I think that's probably like the biggest takeaway is that he has always had those moments of wow, this guy is actually pretty good. Like I remember when the Jets were kind of looking around for a quarterback, I actually threw his name out there as somebody that I would have taken over Rodgers initially. I was like, take a shot, because I think he was a free agent that year when they signed Rodgers. I was like, dude, take a shot on Derek Carr, because they had the weapons. It was like, give him a shot, let's see what happens. Like he was one of those guys. I don't really know a good comp for him. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that, because like a lot of quarterbacks that I feel like fall into his category weren't starting quarterbacks every year of their career, whereas he actually was the starting quarterback like every single year he played, other than injuries.
Yeah, he's kind of a weird comp because like I feel like, well, let me put it this way. I feel like he was more mobile than given credit for, because like he could sneaky get out of a pickle and get a few yards there and end up hurting himself on accident. But then I also, to be fair, don't think he was as good of a passer as his statistics indicate, because he was constantly playing from behind. Like, oh, Derek Carr at 4,300 yards this season is really good. Yeah, but they were down 14 the entire game. Like they had to throw the ball. So I feel like there's give and take to that, but it's like I don't know. I don't know if there's like a really good comparison for him, just because his career seemed very unique in a sense.
It's odd. It's
an
odd career, especially spending that much time with one team.
Yeah, getting nothing out of it really. It's like all those real super long tenured quarterbacks for one team at least had some semblance of success, not like a 2-seed first round playoff exit, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like how much, aside from like Phillip Rivers,
they were bad.
Yeah, like aside from Phillip Rivers, who were like with the Chargers,
they were in the playoffs a lot.
They were competent enough in the playoffs, which is really crazy because like they weren't ever actually good. Like they'd have like a really good offense and defense, and then their special teams was like bottom of the league, and they would end up losing games that way. But like aside from Phillip Rivers, there aren't really many quarterbacks who've been in one place their entire career and have like never won a Super Bowl. They like it seems like they all get at least one, right? Like Aaron Rodgers was a lifetime Packer. They were always good. They got to the NFC Championship game 4 times. They only won one of the games. Peyton Manning was like in the Phillip Rivers boat for the longest time until they finally won. And then he won one with the Broncos. Stafford got his now with the Lions, but with the Rams. Matthew Stafford might actually be a good comp for like the career path if like Carr ever ended up winning a Super Bowl. But like the whole hurt thing, like it's kind of not a good comp because Matt Stafford is like eons better. Yeah. But like just the physical, like always hurt kind of deal, playing through it to his detriment, like you'd have to drag him off of like you'd have to throw Matt Stafford in jail so he wouldn't play. You know what I mean? Like he was always like, I'm playing. Him. It doesn't matter. He's Stafford. The best. But like just tough as hell. And like Derek Carr doesn't scream tough to you because he's got like the weird eyelashes where it looks like he's always wearing makeup. He just doesn't look tough, but I think he is tough. But I just kind of feel bad for him to sum it all up. It's just like that guy's career could have been something, and it just never was anything. So that's all I've got for it. But I felt like it was not just a throwaway retirement. Like I feel like there's some things to talk about there with him, but it's mostly just sad. But next on the agenda, we're going to baseball, and this could be another shorter talking point because I just kind of think it's a little scummy, honestly. But the MLB unbanned Pete Rose. Like that was going to do any good. But I think we're in agreement with this too. I think this is more so just the MLB trying to save face and wash their hands of any wrongdoing in this situation just because it's like Pete Rose passed away. He's eligible for a Hall of Fame ballot now because I don't think he was ever on it since he was banned before he was eligible. So I think he can be on the ballot, right? I'm not sure. Like if
I'm assuming, I would imagine he'd be. I don't know if he has to wait
the 5 years.
I don't know if he has to wait 5 years from being unbanned or if he's going to be on it this. I haven't heard anything that he's going to be on it this year, so I assume he has to wait 5 years, and then he'll be on it in 2030. will be his first
Yeah.
year off.
I don't know if you have any differing thoughts, but I feel like this is just an attempt at the MLB to like give the portrayal. It's like, oh, we fixed our wrong here, even though I don't really think they did. It's just, what good will it do? You know, he's always going to be remembered for that, and you didn't really give him a fair shake. And it's like, look at how sports gambling is now. It's legal in more places than it's not, and it's like you banned like probably one of your top 5 players in the history of the league from ever like receiving any of the accolades that he should have been receiving to begin with. So, and
yeah, I'm with you. It's a hard balance because he's the one that they never proved that he was doing it, or that they never he was betting on his own team to win.
Well, that's what they say, but
yeah,
like,
I'm not enough of a historian in baseball.
No, I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know if he like specifically fessed up to gambling or if it did. Like he was like, yes, but I would only bet on my own team. Like I understand the sticky situation of,
but now it's just a suspension. Like those guys that did it for the Lions last year, and then the guy that did it on the Senators, they just got a year suspension. Like it's not a lifetime ban.
Yeah, and it's not like the guy on the Raptors. Whose brother was that?
Yes. I can't remember who did it for the Raptors too, but yes, I remember that.
Yeah, but that one was bad because like they found text messages.
Well, he was betting on himself.
Yeah, but he was like texting people like, "Hey, bet the under on me. I'm gonna go suck."
That's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's way different. But like, I don't know if you could. I don't know if Pete Rose said like, "I only bet on my team." I don't know if I buy that.
I don't.
I can't in good faith buy that. No. You know what I mean? I just can't. And like, I understand banning him for that, but it's like with all the changes in that space over the last 50 years, and then like you've been sitting on your hands just not doing anything about it. Like that's kind of like, I think you're just saving face at that point. And it's like everyone has a gripe with how the MLB Hall of Fame process works and how stingy those voters are. Had it, yeah, exactly. But if there was a chance that they would, like, they weren't so close-minded to where maybe they would consider electing him as a rightful member of the Hall of Fame, I feel like it would like water down my argument. But like they know damn well he's not getting in. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to shift the blame from, oh, we barred him from even being eligible, to being like, oh, we did what we had to do. They didn't let him in. That's the end of it. I feel like that's all it is. It's just saving face.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. It's just at the end of the day going to be something that. Here's the thing: is like if you're gonna stay on that hill, just stay on it. Like, why wait till he dies to do it? Like, just keep him banned. Like, what is the whole point of what we're doing? And I know the gambling space has shifted, but it was different at the time of it. Like and if you were actually thinking of doing that for the right reasons and not just doing it, like you said, I think it's more of a safe face kind of press thing. If you were actually thinking of doing it for like correct reasoning, you would have done it when he was still alive, because gambling has been really, I know it's bigger now than it was 3 years ago, but even 3 years ago, you could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't get it.
And Shoeless Joe Jackson was unbanned as well, and like he was banned over 100 years ago. The guy's been dead for 75 years, like at least.
It's like why? Like, what are we doing? What's the
point of this? And like he's certainly not getting in. Like they rigged a World Series to like that's like movie. I have not seen that. I might need to watch that though.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, but he actually fixed a World Series. Like that makes sense. Like, oh yeah, we can't have him representing our class. I don't know much about him. I don't know if he was a Hall of Fame worthy player anyways, but you know what I mean. But we've talked about it before on this show. To me, the Hall of Fame should also include the Hall of Infamy. Like, I think it's like a museum of your history. It's like you're telling the story of your sport. I feel like the notorious people should also be in there. It's just it's a museum.
Like I wouldn't put Joe Jackson in there, but I would put the point that we talked about this when the ballot happened or when the voting happened a while back, but we brought up the examples of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire saving baseball, and we talked about Barry Bonds. Like those guys should unequivocally be in. Like
I think
don't
so
care.
too.
You can argue with a wall on those guys. Like they deserve to
it's
be
a part of your story. Like
Yes.
and we weren't like I was 2 years old when that home run race happened, and people who were alive were like, yeah, baseball was fun that summer. That was for people who didn't really care that much about baseball either. Like they made that sport popular again right when they needed it to be, because it wasn't popular at the time. And I feel like baseball is still relevant because of those two people.
Yes, 100%. And what video do they always show on 9/11?
Sammy Sosa sprinting around the warning track with that flag every time.
No, we don't like him. We don't like him. Keep him away.
No.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
they're not getting in. Pete Rose is never getting in. They're never going to vote. He'll probably stay on the ballot. Actually,
I don't know.
There's going to be a lot. The voters for the Hall of Fame love being the morality police. He might not even be on the second ballot. He might only be on one ballot.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I feel like one day he might get in, but it might be when we're dead. Like all these old people need to go, and for any meaningful change to happen with that process. And I think
give me a vote.
It's like stuffy golf people. It's the same kind of deal, you know? It's just like it's the most frustrating thing, because maybe 30, 40 years ago, like the people who watch the sport, enjoy the sport, may have felt that way about Pete Rose, or 20 years ago with the steroid thing. Maybe people thought that, like, oh, it's actually an integrity problem with our game. People are using steroids to get paid money and inflate their stat. Yep, and I agree. It's a very stupid argument. It's like put a bat in Arnold Schwarzenegger's hands.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah. They're on gear. They were on gear, and they wouldn't be able to hit a baseball. Like it's just so stupid. But you need people like Jeff Passan has a Hall of Fame vote. You need 300. I think it's like 300 people who have a vote, right?
Yeah.
They need 300 Jeff Passans making a vote.
You're telling me the 7 people on the writing committee that use one vote every single year are going to vote for Pete Rose with their one vote? No.
Not a chance.
I hate those people, by the way.
I do too. They're the worst. They're nerds.
You don't have to use all of them, but you're just going to die on the hill of only using one every year just because that's what you feel. Like, shitting me?
Yeah, and like in a lot of years, sure. Like I agree. Like we talked about
this
it pretty
next year,
much.
Yeah, the 2026
like that's fine.
Might actually
like
only be one guy.
And like it probably should be 0. Like most of those guys on
some of the
of the newcomers, the returning guys obviously not. But yes, like the newcomers, I think you and I kind of both agreed. Like every newcomer was a Hall of Fame, a Hall of Very Good. You know what I mean? So it was like I get that, but the process is just too stuffy. I don't think it should be like the NBA where like they're in already and it's like, was this guy really a Hall of Fame player? I don't know. But I just feel like it's a friendlier process in the fact that not so much they let different, maybe less qualified players in, but I feel like the NBA at least analyzes their impact on the sport, not necessarily just playing the sport. Where I feel like baseball, it's all about playing the sport and playing it within our social guidelines of how you play the sport.
Yes, the character thing is a big piece of it, and sometimes it'll outweigh performance.
And I don't think it should. I think it should kind of be an all-encompassing.
It should be a mix. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I always agree with your it should tell the story take to a certain degree. Like I don't believe that. Like at the end of the day, I don't think Pete Rose should be in anyways, regardless of his on-the-field performance, even though he tells a big story of baseball. Like, he is a huge, important cornerstone of baseball history. I still don't know that he should be in for what he did. The steroid thing for me is entirely different. Like, I view steroids as like dude, in those times, in like the steroid use era, everybody and their mother was using it.
Yeah, it was widespread in locker rooms, and it was like a poorly kept secret.
Yes.
But you don't think Pete Rose should be in anyways?
I don't know. The gambling thing for me is kind of a deal breaker. Like regardless of whether or not it's on your own team or like for or against your own team or just in the league. I mean, they just banned a guy in the Pirates minor league system last season for gambling. I think he was betting on MLB games and he's in the minors, but like I don't know.
Yeah, just don't bet baseball.
Yes, that is my take on it is like if you are a professional athlete, and I get the reason why they can't because they say that they have more access to other sports, but I can't imagine that, if I'm Mike Trout, I don't necessarily have insider information on the Kings. Like I could probably get it, but like I can't like, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
yeah.
I think that it's a different conversation if you're betting on other sports. You shouldn't be able to bet on your sport. If you bet on your sport, I don't mind the ban, quite honestly.
No, I don't. I think that's fair, especially on yourself. Like
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
It was Murray, Jamal Murray, his brother. Was that who it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that guy. Like betting on yourself. Yeah, that. Okay, you can't do that, and that's like common sense, But
no, Jonte Porter.
Oh, Michael Porter's brother. Okay, I knew it was somebody on the
Nuggets.
Okay, there you go. But yeah, I can get behind you with that. With like, okay, the gambling is kind of a no-go for you when it comes to like your elderly. That makes sense.
Well, especially just when it happened. Like, I get that it's different now in 2025 than it was 150 years ago, but like, and that's why I don't understand unbanning him. Like, we're unbanning him because it's different, but they know damn well he's not getting in. Like we all know that. Like, the voters aren't going to put him in.
No. Not, and even if they didn't ban him, I don't think they would. I think they'd stay on that purity hill.
I would agree with you. It would fall into that steroid category, even if he was never banned, even if he was kicked out of the league at that point, but not banned. You know what I mean, or like suspended, whatever.
You're like blackballed. Yeah, just be
I still don't think the voters would have put him in.
I don't think so either. But I guess we can move on from that. I think we agree. It's just kind of like we see both sides of it. It's like nothing's going to change from it, but also it's like MLB. It's just saving face. Like that's all this is. So we can stay on the MLB before we have a little bit of a broader discussion about fandom. We'll get into it in a minute. But the Orioles fired their manager this morning, and you were pissed.
Yes, Brandon Hyde officially fired this morning as the Orioles are 15-28, 10.5 games back in the AL East in dead last. The last two seasons, 91-71, 101-61, 192 wins over his last two seasons with a first place win and a second place win. He's fired this morning. What is the guy supposed to do? Right? You did all the right things last year. You brought in Corbin Burns. You let him walk after last year. Your pitching staff at the moment, because Grayson Rodriguez is hurt, because Kyle Bradish is hurt. You have Zach Eflin, Dean Kramer, Tomoyuki Sugano, who this is his first year in, and he's 35 and he's almost 36 years old as a rookie.
Yeah, the blog I put out said rookie.
Yeah. Cade Povich, who is a promising rookie, but not proven by any stretch of the imagination. Kyle Gibson at the ripe age of 37 years old, and Charlie Morton, who's 42 years old. What are you supposed to do with that pitching staff? I understand, like, I am fully with you. The offense has been disgusting this year, like super underperforming. Like you said in your blog last week, Ryan O'Hearn was leading the team in OPS. Gunnar Henderson is kind of doing the Gunnar Henderson thing. He's not a world beater, but a very good player. You know what you're going to get out of him. Yes, you know what you're going to get out of him. He's a very, very good shortstop. But then you have guys like Cedric Mullins, who has started to turn around. Colton Cowser starting to turn around. But as of last week, they've been really bad. Adley Rutschman has struggled a lot. Like, he went from being best catcher in the league to a very reliable catcher, in my opinion. I still love Adley Rutschman. I'm a big Adley guy. He is not, the kind of Hall of Fame track that I kind of thought he was going to be on for his first couple of years. Like, I legitimately thought he was going to be the best catcher in the league year in and year out for 10, 15 years. He's a very good catcher, very reliable. You kind of know what you're going to get, but it's nothing great at this point. I think it's unbelievable to fire him after this. The firings this past week have been Bud Black with the Rockies, hasn't had a winning record since 2017, and Brandon Hyde, who won 192 games in his last 2 seasons. Like, what? As the front office, they're making that decision. What did you give him to help him? Like, did you really think that you were going to slug your way to a 30-14 record to this point? Like, you can't expect that. You can't expect that with how bad this pitching staff is. There is nobody to be excited about on this pitching staff. Zach Eflin is your ace. Dean Kramer throws 90 miles an hour. It's more or less Bryce Elder for the Braves. Like,
except older, yeah.
Yeah, like, this isn't an exciting pitching staff, and the bullpen is not good. Right, you have Felix Bautista, who's really good. You have a couple of pieces.
Ian Cano's pitching okay, and I think from what I wrote, there was one other guy that like is kind of overperforming. But from minus those 3, that bullpen's also been very poor. Yes.
Like, it's just like, what are you supposed to do? You don't have an ace, and it's kind of the same conversation that we have with the Red Sox preseason before they signed Crochet. It was like you really needed an ace, and the Red Sox went and got it. The Orioles had their ace, and they just said, we'll sign Charlie Morton instead of bringing back Burns. And every time I throw that out, people on Twitter are always like, well, they're supposed to have Grayson Rodriguez and Kyle Bradish. I love Kyle Bradish. I think Kyle Bradish is one of the most underrated pitchers in the MLB. He is a high-end 2 at best. He's kind of the equivalent of Freddie Peralta, in my opinion. Like, not an ace, but a very good number 2. Like, he's a guy that
he's number 2. He's like a 3 on a really good team, and he's a 2 on every other team, and he's a 1 on the bad teams, right?
Yeah. Like, I think Kyle Bradish kind of falls into that. Grayson Rodriguez has never, ever proven to be an ace. Like, the fact that you're gonna die on that hill. Oh, we're supposed to have Grayson Rodriguez to help us.
His stuff's good, but he's never put it together. Wasn't his ERA like 6 last year at one point? Like,
he has always been fine, and I get he is still young. Like, there's still some, there's a lot to like with him. And he's always hurt. He threw 122 innings last year. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's just like, there's just not, I don't get it. I really don't. He had a 3.86 ERA last year, a 4.25 the year before, and over 100 innings. He's a 1-win player every year. He had a lot of wins last year because that offense was insane. And he was their number 3, which is like perfect for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Like,
at this point anyways, yeah.
Yeah. And you're dying on the hill right now that he should be your ace. And his ERA plus has never been over 100, which, if you don't know, ERA plus is like a league average. ERA plus is 100.
It's like WRC plus, except for pitchers.
But for pitchers, okay. Exactly. Yeah. So he is like definition of league average pitching.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an ace. I don't care what you tell me. I know he's young. He might be at some point,
I think he's got room to grow into that. But like based on what we've seen and what you're saying, I don't think that's realistic at this point in time to be like, oh, he could be an ace. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Like like you and I both played college baseball at a small school. It's like everyone has to find a role on a team. Well, no matter what sport you play, everybody needs a role. And if you're not that guy, that's okay. Like, you can still be a valuable contributor by being a number 3 pitcher on a good team.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I'm with you. Like, they didn't do anything. We were talking about it before this morning. I just feel like it's always unfortunate because you brought up Bud Black. It's like, yes, is it his fault? No, but it's been 7-8 years. I feel like it's run its course. It's never really the manager's fault, especially in baseball, right? Because you're always putting your best players out there. Maybe not the pitching, because like the manager has the control of the timing of the pitchers and things like that. But on this team, it's like a culmination of everyone being bad, for like top to bottom. Like, you have some bright spots in that lineup, and you have some pitchers pitching well. But as a whole, like, that team is bad. Someone's got to take the blame for it, and it's always the manager. The thing that is, like, maybe I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the thing that's kind of, like, throwing you for a loop, and me as well, is, like, how quick the leash was. You ran out of room to work with him. Like, there are so many guys in the league that have been in one spot for so long, and you're like, why are we still? It's like Joe Madden with the Rays, right? Like, why is he still here? And then they finally fired him. It's just like, maybe you need a different voice, but you gave him 2 months. Like, things were bad this year, but like, if it was next year, 2 months in, sure. It's like, okay, maybe you lost your fastball with being able to get these guys on the same page and rally the troops and, play good baseball. But 45 games in, after you said he won 192 games the previous 2 years, that's crazy fast. Like,
so ridiculous.
Yeah.
What fires me up about it is like the obvious lack of commitment this offseason. Like, your window is wide open if you're the Orioles. You're flush with young talent. The farm is incredible. You can even trade those pieces. You can trade guys like I'm forgetting his name. Played at Vanderbilt, one of their outfielders. You can trade guys like that, and you can trade a guy like Heston Kjerstad. And I know they did it last year, and they got absolutely burned trading away Kyle Stowers and Connor Norby to Miami for either Taylor or Trevor Rogers, one of the two. And he's been horrible for them. So like, they got burned on it last year, but I can't believe that they were able to do it. Like, the obvious lack of commitment after not signing Corbin Burns and then deciding that Charlie Morton is going to be the answer at 41 years old, who commands a 8.35 ERA at this moment. It's like, what are we doing? Like, the window is so clearly open. Like, you have 2 starters right now that are playing good baseball. Sagano has a 3.08 and Zach Eflin, who's a 3.13. Eflin only has 23 innings this year.
He's been hurt.
Right. Sagano has 52 innings. Neither of them are putting up like ace numbers. They're both putting up good, and I don't think either of them are aces. I think Sagano is kind of falling into the lack of scouting this early. I'm more curious to see what he looks like in July and August once some teams catch on to tendencies. We're still pretty early. He's only made 8 starts, I believe, 9 starts. It gets me fired up because it's like, how are we going to have a leash that short? And when you look at the other managers that have been fired this season, it's like, yes, I'm 100% with you. It's typically not the manager's fault. And it seems like Brandon Hyde has been somewhat of a yes man in terms of front office because of the fact that you just got first place in the AL East, or second place last year, first place the year before. And you were just going to say, oh yeah, let's just let our ace pitcher walk. And we're not going to make any trades with this incredible farm system we have to try and go get an actual ace pitcher. Mm-hmm. It's like, you had so many opportunities this offseason, and it didn't seem like they were in on any of them. And like, you let a guy like Santander walk, and not saying that they should have given him the money, but like, Tyler O'Neill has been
dreadful,
rather useless for them. Like, quite honestly, he hasn't done much of anything. So it's like, let's see what he's hitting. 188, 280, 325, not hitting
2 home runs. Yeah. I think he's 2 home runs.
One of which on opening day, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And you're right. Ryan O'Hearn and Gunnar Henderson are their best players in terms of B-WAR. Ryan O'Hearn is leading their team in home runs. He's leading the team in RBI.
Everything.
Not RBI, but
pretty much every meaningful metric. Yeah. Yes. Which is not like, it's not a knock on Ryan O'Hearn either. Like, we want to make that clear. It's just like back to that role thing. It's like he
should not be
filling the shoes of a guy who's not. Like, that's not who Ryan O'Hearn is. And like, good for him. He's having a career year, but like, if he's the guy pacing your team, you're not a good team, because that's not who he is. He shouldn't be doing that. Like, he could be having a very good season at the plate, but like, Gunnar Henderson should have 10 home runs, and Adley Rutschman should have 6 home runs, batting .250, OPSing .900 at that point. You know what I mean? It's like, that's like, if he's your best player, something else is wrong, and it's not a knock against him. It's just the way it is. That's not who he is, and it's okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think it's really, really premature as far as the leash that he was given, especially given the recent success. And I know his first couple of years were really bad, but he's strung together 3 straight years with 80+ wins. And I know 83 wins is not exactly anything to write home about, but when he took over that team, they were horrible.
Horrible. They've been horrible for 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, those were the rebuild years where they were finally rebuilding through the draft. And it's like, the tide finally started to turn. You had 83 wins. Then all of a sudden you're a 100-win team battling for first place year in and year out in the AL East. And then you go right back to what you were doing. And you're like, we have enough young talent. We'll figure something out.
Yeah,
we're going to sign Charlie Morton and a
36-year-old exactly. And that's exactly what they did too, like to a T. It's like, we can bank on these young guys. They'll be fine. It's like, well, that's not how any sport works. Like, does it ever work out that easy where you can just be like, oh, we can 100% expect what we got last year this year with doing no change? Does it ever work that way in pro sports? Why do you, like, the NBA, look at what the Warriors did. They lost the finals in 2016, which was bullshit, by the way. Stephen A. Smith says the stimulus package. I 100% agree with that, with them suspending Draymond Green. It was a load of shit, trying to prop up their golden boy LeBron. But look what the Warriors, they were the best regular season team in NBA history. They go and sign Kevin Durant. They didn't need to do that. They could have won the next year. They didn't need to do that, but they did. They're like, we need to improve. We weren't good enough, so we're going to get better. Look what the Dodgers do every year. Every year they get Freddie Freeman. They lose in the first
World Series, and you sign Blake Snell.
Yeah, it's like, we're right back to it. We're getting better. Winning's fun. We want to keep winning. We're going to get better. Every team does it. Like, when the Dodgers have lost in the first round until they finally won that World Series or in the CS, like, they didn't need to go sign anybody else. They just needed the guys they had to play better. More so on the pitching end. I feel like the hitting with that team has never been the problem. Like, the problem was typically the bullpen. And, like, would you say as a Dodgers fan they've marginally improved their bullpen, or like drastically improved their bullpen? I wouldn't say so.
Well, the one year they got bounced early, Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman were like 2 for 35 in that series.
Okay,
like they were horrible. But so, like, to your point, like, they could have kept everything the same and said,
and they probably would have been
9 times out of 10 those guys are not doing that.
Yeah, then that's my point. It's like, they didn't necessarily make drastic overhauls to their bullpen. They got better in one guy stepped up and maybe they signed another guy, or they called up a guy who was really good. Now he's ready to perform. They made marginal changes and improvements to their bullpen. They didn't do a complete overhaul until last year. Like, getting a move for Tanner Scott at the deadline was huge for them because he was one of the best arms in bullpen in baseball, and he showed that. Like, wasn't he like unhittable in the playoffs? Like, Tanner Scott was really good.
Yes.
So, like, that's what you do. You wait, you make it better and better and better, and then it's like, okay, we're here. We need to fix this one glaring piece. We're going to go do that. The Rangers did that with Aroldis Chapman in 2023. Their bullpen was terrible all season. And it's like, we're right there. Let's make a move. Cubs did it in 2016 for Chapman. It's like, we're almost right there. This is the year. We're going for it. You can't just rely on what you had the year before. The teams who can do that don't even do that. So, like, what do you think is going to happen when you're just like, oh, all of these young guys in their first and second year and have no idea how to be a pro, overperformed from the last 2 years, they're just going to know. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in anything. But it sucks because, like, a good skipper lost his job, and, like, that's just the way it is. It's like, it's never their fault, but, like, someone's got to go. And, like, do I think the leash was too short? Absolutely. But it's pretty bad in Baltimore right now. Like, it seems like they can't beat anybody. They can't get out of their own way. And it's not his fault, but, like, someone's got to pay for it. It should be the GM, if anything. Because that... Like, I might as well have added him at the little rant I just went on, because it's entirely his fault. It's like, you have 29 other teams in the MLB. Well, we can discard the Pirates and we can discard the Rockies and the Marlins and the White Sox. Okay, it's 25 other teams in the MLB are like, let's try to get better this year. The Angels have nothing to play for, and they even tried. And they're not good right now, but they're not like dumpster bad. Like, they're at least competitive. Maybe there was a combination of a couple guys playing well enough, pitching well enough, poor schedule up to this point, whatever. They at least put forth an effort to improve their team. And you're a contender, and you made no effort to improve your team. Like you said, adding 42-year-old Charlie Morton, signing a 35-year-old Japanese rookie.
I know you lost in you lost in the wild card last year, and that's what you did. Like you lost in the wild card for a team that, quite honestly, like I thought was going to be a World Series contender. You got second in the AL East. The year before, you were slightly worse, and it was like. Here's the thing: is like 2023, you win the AL East, you win in the ALDS, or you lose in the ALDS, and you sign Corbin Burns. It's like that's
the right
baseball.
direction. Yeah, that's what you're.
This year,
you're
like, oh, we had 2 really good years. Let's just see what happens. We're going to sign Tyler O'Neill in replace of Anthony Santander, which I don't think was a horrible signing.
No, I don't think
right? It's
so
easy to
either.
say that. And Santander has not been a world beater at all in Toronto, so it's not like you lost that trade.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, you take those when you're trying to do the right thing, and like. I think in that they did nothing to help the pitching staff.
No.
And that Kyle Bradish is injury prone, and that Grayson Rodriguez is injury prone. Mm-hmm. And you said we're going to sign 42-year-old Charlie Morton, who's also injury prone.
Yeah, even if it's not Corbin Burns, like kind of with the Santander thing, if you don't think he's the guy you want, it's like, okay, I guess I could accept that, but like there are a slew of better options you could have pursued.
Somebody.
Yeah, like Charlie Morton is probably at the bottom of your list, and it seems
it's
like
nothing against Charlie Morton. He has had a fantastic career. He is at the end of his career.
He's 100 years old. Like, what do you expect? Like, seriously, like what? It's the same thing with Verlander, right? Like,
yes.
You couldn't, like, the Giants were like, we'll take a chance on you. We're probably not expecting a ton.
He won a Cy Young at 37 or 30.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame player, but bad example. But like the point still remains. Yeah, it's like you took a stab at somebody that you thought was qualified for it. You could do that, even if it's not Corbin Burns. I feel like you could have done better than Charlie Morton.
Yes, there's so many better options out there, and I'm not saying they could have gotten Blake Snell, but like. Look at what the Red Sox gave up for Garrett Crochet. You could have put that package together with that farm system easily. Mm-hmm. You could have easily given the White Sox a competitive offer for what the Red Sox gave up. And it quite frankly would have been made up of guys that never would have played in your system because of how much young talent you have.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been no skin off your nose, and you could have ended up with that caliber of player. And I'm not saying him specifically, but that caliber of player. Michael King's name was being floated around the offseason. You could have given the Padres an extremely, extremely competitive offer to try and make a move for him.
They're a team who need the capital. Yeah, they need the capital, the farm system capital, because theirs is exhausted. They moved it all to try to be relevant these past 3 years.
Yeah, which good on them. The Orioles could have done the same. They chose not to. Now they stink.
Yeah, you kind of reap what you sow.
You did it to yourself. Yeah. I can't believe they did that. Unreal.
Yeah, but we're running a little bit long, so we were going to talk about like the whole theory of small market baseball or sports in general, just small markets and competing with large markets, because there's a whole narrative of, we can't compete, we're a small market. Total bullshit. We talked about it for like an hour before the show even started. So just for the length of time, we're going to put that one on the back burner. We'll get to that topic eventually, maybe next week. A slower week. Summer's coming up. There's a lot of things to not talk about because I don't foresee us being a WNBA podcast. I'm probably going to start betting on it because I'm an asshole, but I do not foresee us bringing that up on this show. We might have negative listeners for that, but whatever. But we had a fun discussion with that whole concept this morning, so we'll put that one on the back burner just for the sake of time. You got anything else to add here, Will, before we wrap up?
I got. Be sure you're liking and subscribing to the podcast to get this every single week. Day to be determined. We're kind of pushing towards end of the week now. It seems like we're doing a little bit better going end of week. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Overdue Sports, catching us on the Substack as well. Starting to gear up. Well, I guess not starting to gear up, but we're starting to approach college football preview stuff. So
we're excited for that too.
Yeah, stay tuned for that kind of in the summer, back end of summer. Got a whole lot of things coming. Yeah, we made some good calls last year. Be sure you're following everything, and we will see you next week.